So good day, and thank you for joining us for our final webinar of the season of the year for in the Performance Excellence series that we've been doing. We've had, I think, over 24 great sessions that we've offered. Today, I'm joined by John Corsetti. Thank you, John, for being here today. John is the Transformation Manager for Sutphen, and he'll introduce himself a little bit very shortly. And this particular session is a best in practice case study, or best in class case study, I should say, and it fits in nicely with the session that we've been doing with Paul Bohr on how IISEs can play a larger role in transformation initiatives. So I think John's going to give you an example of how an IISE over the past 12, 13 years has done exactly that. I referred to John as a do leader, and wanted to explain what I meant by that. I'm going to talk a little bit about CISE at the end of the session, but CISE is a group of affinity group of senior leaders of the industrial engineering function in a variety of organizations, and I'll share who those organizations are. I've invited John to join that group and Sutphen to be part of that. But you know, it's people that John is somebody that can bridge the gap. He's got thought leader component to him. He's always studying, learning, growing. And at the same time, he's very reduction to practice and practically oriented. And so that's the kind of people that really comprise the group of CISE, and it's why I've been a member for over 20 years. So one of the things I wanted to very quickly do, and it's not a sales pitch per se, but I'd like to promote IISE, our professional society. I think there are, from my perspective, there are a number of tangible benefits that have caused me to send a check to IISE for my membership for the past 50 years. One is over the 50 years, consistently IISE has accelerated my ability to grow my network, my relationships. They've made it easier for me to do that. I think the other thing is that as a result of going to conferences and participating in webinars like this, they've really helped me continue my education and development over time. They've become my Ohio State University. That's my alma mater, in a sense, professionally. And then they provide a number of technical affinity groups. So I'm a member of Society for Health Systems because that's an interest area for me. I'm a member of the Lean Division because that's an interest area for me. And also I'm a member of the Analytics Division because obviously that's an interest for me. So being able to join technical affinity groups, subdomains in industrial engineering is an important offering from IISE, and it makes it easy for us to do that. And then this series, we've been doing this webinar series for over 5 years now, and it has become a very important offer element for IISE, I think. We've got a group of some 9,000 people that are loyalists that consistently come back to these sessions. And so I think this is an example of IISE innovating with new offer elements all the time to give you more and more and better value for your money. So I'd like to encourage you to join me and others and some 20,000 other people and be part of IISE. I'm very proud to be a member of our professional society. I mentioned that this webinar fits very nicely in a mini-series we've been doing. It's 5 sessions. We just finished our 3rd. We'll be headed into our 4th, and I'll show you a little bit later in the session how you can register for the 4th and upcoming webinar offered by Paul Bohr. Paul Bohr is our leader for this mini session. You'll get to know him if you sign up for the January session. As I said, we finished the first 3, and the 4th webinar will be in January and focuses on end-to-end enterprise governance. And then I'll go over this at the end again, but just to give you a sense of how this session fits in, you can see the bullet in the middle there, 10th of December, that's this session. And so it fits nicely in the middle of this series of 5 sessions that Paul Bohr is doing for us. A lot of people ask me questions during the session, where can I find the recording and the presentation from today? And if you go to the IISE website under training and then the Performance Excellence webinar series, there'll be 10 buckets, and I've highlighted which bucket this webinar will be in. It'll be posted by IISE headquarters staff, and it'll be up before the end of the week. So without any further introduction, I'm going to pass the baton now to John, and I'm really looking forward. I worked with John when he was doing a capstone project many years ago with Sutphen, and so I'm really intrigued and interested in seeing how this has all evolved over the last 10 plus years. Thank you, John.
Great. Thanks, Scott, for the opportunity, and thanks everybody for joining. So just why am I talking to you here today? As Scott mentioned, our organization has been doing a lot of transformation work over the past decade or so, and Scott asked me to share some of our journey. So I've been at Sutphen my entire career. One second, I forgot to click a button. I've been at Sutphen my entire career. The reason being that because they allow me to play, they allow me to grow, and they allow me to do a lot of different things that I like to do, which is the type of transformation type activity. I've had several roles there and been able to lead and create a lot of different types of projects and initiatives. Actually did a webinar with this overall series that Scott leads a few years ago, talking about some of those projects and the way that they've developed over time. Not really going to go in that direction today because I want to build off the last webinar on transformation and that direct series that you guys are in right now. So as Scott mentioned, I've been involved with the Lean Six Sigma for a long time. I've been coaching projects here with Sutphen for over 10 years. My current role is the transformation manager. As let's see, choppy. Is anybody? I just saw a choppy audio comment. Are we good? Okay. Just want to make sure. Didn't need to check on something. Cool. So my current role is transformation manager. I also do a lot of the operational analytics for Sutphen as well too. So I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff. So I really enjoy the opportunity to present it. You know, I'm started off with my YouTube did a rap this year that gave me the award of most likely to explain complex ideas in a way that everyone can understand, even your grandma. So that's really the reason why I'm talking to you. Friend joke that I also could be most likely to explain complex ideas in a way only I can understand. So as Scott ingrained into me, feedback is always a gift. So I took that and we'll see what happens. I'm trying to be a little bit simpler with my explanations as well too. So. See here. That slide change, correct?
Yep, there you go.
Cool. Great. So a little bit about Sutphen Corporation. We are a 135-year-old now, family-owned fire truck manufacturer. We have 5th generation leadership working in the business. We actually just transitioned from the 4th generation to the 5th generation from the president and a lot of other people working in the business as well too. We are the largest family-owned fire truck manufacturer in the world and one of the largest private vertically integrated one too, meaning we build our own chassis and bodies and everything else. So the previously largest family-owned had to take on private equity recently, actually, due to cash flow issues, which bumped us into the largest family-owned in the world. We have 4 main facilities. Just wanted to mention, you can see down in the bottom left, we have a brand new 185,000 square foot facility in Urbana, Ohio, which integrated 3 nearly located facilities into a brand new one. I'm over there a lot. It's beautiful. It's really cool to be part of setting that up. We have a flagship product that you can see here over in the top right. That's our aerial product. That's a 100-foot ladder on top of the fire truck. That's our Pareto for our 20% of sales, making the 80% of the profit for our business. We're actually the first organization to put a mid-mount aerial on the market back in the 1960s. So we've been growing. We're a little over 300 million a year in sales with about 600 employees or so now as well too. In terms of our market positioning, I want to just talk briefly. We've been using this thought around value discipline model. Basically, what it's saying, you can see that in the bottom middle, that markets have room for a major player in three different areas: one in product leadership, one in operational excellence, and one in customer intimacy. So basically, what it says is that a single business can't truly fully excel in all three, but it can excel in one of them and not be totally deficient in the other two. So we've positioned ourselves as a customer intimacy organization while still working hard on the operational excellence and product leadership side. So what that means is we value ourselves on something called the Sutphen experience. So it's the way that we treat our customers, the way that we interact with them, the way that we're able to have them. We bring them in several times throughout the build of the truck. They're able to talk to the people that are building the truck. We have a lot more personal relationship. If you're a customer with us, you get to meet the president. You'll see him walking around, have conversations with the family members, etc. So that positions us for really a customer intimacy type of focus, which positions us also at the higher end in the market. So we're an industry leader of quality, durability, and customization. We're very high customization and also pretty low volume at 280 fire trucks produced this year, but still one of the big players. Just we don't build the tons of cookie cutter trucks. So transformation at Sutphen has been an inorganic development. I'll reference back to the playbook that you guys had, that Paul had been talking about in the last one. Our playbook has been developed organically and is ongoing. So we haven't taken the large scale, fully integrated, prefabricated approach that I believe Paul was presenting some about. Not that saying that your organization shouldn't or that it doesn't work. We just didn't have that big of an alignment and push at the beginning, and we've developed it organically over time. So we've been taking ideas from people's previous employers that have had some playbooks, as well as Lean Six Sigma, Jim Collins, the Fifth Discipline, Peter Senge, and most recently we've been taking a lot from Pat Lencioni and the Table Group very heavily. So a couple things to mention here before we get going into it a little bit is something that I've found a lot is from Peter Senge's The Fifth Discipline, is that the harder you push, the harder the system pushes back. So transformation is iterative, it's difficult, and especially the longer your business has been in place, and depending on the maturity of it, the harder you push against that, there's going to be a lot of pushback on that as well. It can be difficult to work with. So you have to figure out what's the intelligent way to work with that pushback, and how do you work with it instead of against it, so you don't get frustrated and bail out. What we found is also for our playbook that, like I said, we can use others' content integrated into our overall playbook, but obviously don't pretend like it's yours. So also in some of that, like I mentioned in the good to great flywheel, we found that the first who, then what, and the confront the brutal facts and never lose faith stage, those are difficult. They can be lengthy, and they can be a little bit iterative and slickical as well. So the last couple words on the confront the brutal facts there that aren't listed in that graphic, but never lose faith. And I think that's an important thing to recognize and to realize, especially as you're getting into the beginning of transformations, because it can be difficult, and you'll have wins and you'll also have losses. There's a lot of under the water type activity that is generally not seen, and generally potentially doesn't give the successes that you initially want it to. So also to build a little bit on Jim Collins from the Built to Last, try a lot of stuff and keep what works. So that's been a major thing for us as well too. So going to give a snapshot of our emerging playbook here, and then we'll build off of that for the rest of the webinar. So we're not an overly technical team. We're an intelligent team, but we don't have highly sophisticated systems maturity. So we've gravitated into as simple of approaches that are practical and effective for us as possible. So the past few years we've been gravitating towards an organizational health paradigm, and we've realized that transformation for us is enabled through this paradigm a lot better. We can talk to it, we can understand it, and it's simple for us to use. So it's based on building a cohesive leadership team, creating clarity, over communicating that clarity, and reinforcing that clarity. Some of this content is like I said that we've been using recently is from Pat Lencioni and the Table Group. He's a godfather of the organizational health movement, author, does a really great podcast called At the Table. If you're not familiar with it, has a boutique consulting firm called the Table Group. We don't work with them as of now. We just use a lot of his stuff because it's simple and effective. So I'm gonna walk through some of the elements that we've used for some of these, and then dive into a couple of them as well, and share some examples. There we go. So in terms of building a cohesive leadership team, as Good to Great mentions, it really needs to start with level 5 leadership. So we were blessed at Sutphen about 6 years ago to bring in a fantastic leader who's our vice president of operations. And he's really enabled me to be able to work on a lot of this, and our organization to be able to go through a little bit of this. So he's also helped bring a variety of great leaders onto the team to create an awesome leadership team that we have now. Through there, we've changed a lot of our initial overlying structure in terms of how we communicate with each other, some of our mindset and culture type stuff around the different types of meetings that we have and the different use cases and reasons for them. And we've done a lot of team learning as a result of that as well too. But one thing that I wanted to touch on that's been really powerful for us over the past couple of years was a model also through the Lencioni from called the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It's a book as well as a theory, and you can do a workshop and planning process. So from a team learning aspect, we read the book together as a management team, and then we purchased the workshop materials for the Table Group, and I led it's a several-day workshop to go through. And we continue to leverage the premise and exercises and content. And it's been very powerful for us. So I just wanted to share a little bit about that and in the build a cohesive leadership team portion of it. So the premise is that teams fail to be cohesive and effective due to these 5 dysfunctions: that the absence of trust, creating a fear of conflict, creating a lack of commitment, creating avoidance of especially peer-to-peer accountability, and then an avoidance or an inattention to team results and more of a attention to individual results and individual ambitions. So how you change that on its head is that through developing vulnerability-based trust. So there's a lot of different kinds of trust. The trust that we're specifically talking about here is vulnerability-based trust. The trust of being able to be real, to be human with another person, to be honest about your strengths and your weaknesses, to be able to seek help when needed, to be able to apologize, that vulnerability of relationship. And that vulnerability-based trust enables a genuine, healthy conflict, which is the humble pursuit of truth and the best path forward. That conflict enables true commitment to happen. So under the basis that rational people don't have to get their way to commit, but they do have to be heard. They do have to weigh in. And that's why the conflict isn't essential. So you may not, even if you're able to fully weigh in a conflict and have that out, even if something, a direction doesn't go the way you were advocating for, you're able to commit to that. From commitment, true peer-to-peer accountability can emerge, which is by far the most powerful form of accountability over role-based accountability that we've found. Team members holding each other accountable. All of those things bring it together to create an attention to team results over individual results, and that framework forms a cohesive and effective team. So there's a lot more to it than that, and that I'll probably touch a little bit on in a couple things in terms of how to go through those different things. I would, if that stuff's interesting to you, I would recommend you dive into it. There's a lot out there. The book's great too. I think you can get an audio book or not, and the content's fantastic. We go through we've set certain things through this in the conflict stage that now we mine for conflict a lot. So if we can sense that somebody's not fully aligned, we'll pull that conflict out so we can have it, because we've established some of that trust, and we see the true benefit of that conflict. We've even set part of this is set conflict norms that I'll share in the reinforcing clarity that we review on a regular basis. That's been important to us on how do we want to engage in conflict that we've all agreed on. In terms of creating clarity, I'm going to spend the next few slides talking about some of this, so I'm not going to dive into it right now. Strategic planning, I'm really not going to talk much about at all. There's a lot out there on strategic planning, and a lot of people who can talk to it and do talk to it very effectively and eloquently. So I was going to focus on a few things that may be a little bit less talked about around a model called Working Genius that we've been leveraging heavily, as well as our value stream analysis process and our thematic goal process that we're really proud of and has been very, very effective to us. But we've been doing a lot to create clarity, and then over communicate that clarity through the creation of scorecards, ensuring we're communicating where needed. One thing that we've been gravitating towards through over communicating clarity is a model called Purpose, Picture, Plan, Part that we picked up and heard. I forget off the top of my head who created that. It's in some type of book. But basically what it is when you're going through transition management or change management, a very effective way to communicate with people is what's the purpose of the change or transition? What's the picture that it looks like when it's done? What's our plan to get there? And what is the part, or what is the role of the people that you're talking to? So that framework has been really effective for us in terms of just framing transition management and the conversation around communicating the clarity that we've created. As far as reinforcing clarity, we've got a few processes in place. We have a SteerCo process at the business unit level, which is an output of the value stream analysis process that I'll talk about in a little bit here, as well as daily Gemba escalation processes at the business unit level, which is getting the value stream manager as well as the leads for like engineering and purchasing, et cetera, down walking the production line at a set time on a daily basis, looking for any escalation needs and getting those communicated, and then having an action item management follow-up process and visibility process that we review on the back end of that. Just want to mention one other thing on our scorecards. We have a couple different kinds of scorecards that we use. I'll touch base on one of them. In our monthly and quarterly business reviews, one of them that we have that we like, that we're developing, is it's really got 3 points to it. It's, are we doing as well as we said we're going to during our planning process? Are we doing as good as we can with what we have through changes? And are we transforming? So we take those three elements and we create a scorecard off of them. One other point that I didn't mention on here that I just realized is the commitment clarification at the end of a meeting. It seems like a small thing, but it's been really effective for us in terms of really establishing that clarity. So if we're in a long meeting, especially our monthly or quarterly business reviews, we could have a lot of different potential action items come up that we write down, and we've realized that sometimes they're things that aren't actually going to get done, that people really aren't committed to doing, and we've just taken them down, and that creates a pool of really just like muddy action items that really isn't effective, and it muddies the waters for the stuff that we actually do want to follow up on. So we take the last 5 to 10 minutes of large meetings and we go through a commitment clarification process where we read through each one of those and we say, hey, are we actually committed to doing this? Who's going to be the owner of this? Are we clear on what this item actually is and what the output of it actually is? So that's been transformative for us, really, just in itself. And then the cascading communication is part of that too. Is who do we need to, what decisions and actions were made at this that need to be communicated down to the teams within 24 to 48 hours, and preferably not by email. So we touch base on that, and we have the cascading communication based off of that. So that's a snapshot of some of the stuff. I'm going to spend the next few slides diving into some of this. So as I mentioned, one of the first things that we went through when we got that level five leadership. Oh, I just noticed a typo on. Apparently, I spelled structure wrong a couple different times, but we changed our organization structure to restructure to a value-based structure from a functional structure. So initially, we had each department, from engineering department, procurement, materials, project management, bill of materials, etc., production, were completely isolated and siloed from each other, and they had combined value streams. So no matter what the product or stream of value was being worked on, it was just a site-based engineering department. They sat in their own office, and they worked just as an engineering department. Production worked just as production. There was a lot of banging together, a lot of clashing together on this. And what we did is we changed to we defined value streams, which for us ended up being pretty similar to product families. And we restructured the organization based off of those. So now we have a value stream manager or business unit manager for each one of those value streams. None of these things are these graphics up here are completely comprehensive, but they're just to drive an idea of what we did. And we integrated those functionals vertically underneath them. So for instance, for our aerial value stream, that flagship product, we have a business unit manager, value stream manager for the whole aerials. And then under him is the project management specifically for the aerials, the engineering for the aerials, procurement, production, bill of materials, and even the materials team supporting that. So we also co-located them. We demolished those different offices. We built new offices, and also in the new building that we built, we set it up like this. And we were able to co-locate all of those people into offices with breakout rooms to be able to have isolated and private conversations. And if you need to do work that doesn't make sense to do in a co-located office. So that was a powerful transition for us. It's been really effective, and it's been very beneficial to see that play out. So our management team is now the team of the value stream managers, as well as myself, my boss, and a few other people. And sales and accounting are still independent, but they sit in. The director of sales and our CFO sits in our management team with us. And then through that, we've created our monthly business review, quarterly business review, and that Gemba that I talked about on a daily basis. So our monthly business review and quarterly business review, those are strategic meetings. We come together once a month and we talk about the health of the business. We have some set repeatable things that I talked about around did we do as good as we said? Do we good as what we have? And are we transforming? And then we have general conversations just around strategy of the business, health of the business. It's that MBR specifically is one of our in a lot of ours that sit in it favorite meetings of the month. It is all day, but it's effective and it's a healthy thing to do. The quarterly business review is similar, but it includes all of the divisions, including some of the ones that we don't generally work with, and it has a little bit more family members in it as well too. But we review a lot of the same stuff, and it's a strategy and an accountability type meeting. What this overall process did is enabled our value stream analysis process as well with an owner of the value stream. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Cool. So we do value stream analysis as well as roadmap and governance. It's something that I lead. So our value stream analysis is a 2-day event yearly with a representative sample of people from the business unit. It follows a pretty standard track where we do a team learning refresh around some like lean principles and stuff like that. We have an updated value stream map and a lot of other data and looks that we bring to that. So we do an analysis around flow, et cetera, a lot of your standard IE type stuff that I won't go into because you guys all know that very well. We do a go and see as needed coming out of that, then a pain point wall walk with solution generation, priority matrix generation around difficulty, cost, timely, that type of thing. And then we create a roadmap coming out of that. The roadmap is a year roadmap for that team, which includes projects, rapid improvement events or Kaizens, which are 1 to 5 day burst events, very directed, planned type of activity, and just do it's things that we just need to assign out and do it. So we create that roadmap coming out of those VSAs, and then we have a steerco process, which meets on a weekly to bi-weekly basis and talks about the state of that roadmap and make sure we're holding ourselves accountable to getting those things done. And with some coaching, we have a scorecard created through that. And for some of those, we leverage, you can't really see it well, but a 9-box process, which is really just a template for taking you through a project where you're, defining the reason for action, your initial state, your future state, gap analysis, and things to try out, data solution generation, et cetera. So a process to go through that. But the value stream analysis process is a very healthy process that we've been going through. Again, that's at the business unit or the value stream level. So we do one of those for each one of the value streams, for our aerial value stream, for our pumper value stream. Oops, Scott, you have your hand up there. Do you mean to put your hand up, Scott?
Sorry, no, John, sorry. Let me get you back to where you were, sorry.
Did the slides change?
Not sure what happened.
I got an all good here from somebody. That I'm seeing, we still see the slide, so if we're seeing nothing happen, getting some chats that we're still good to go. So I'm gonna keep rolling. Are you seeing something different, Scott? Or?
Yeah, but are you seeing the slides?
Yeah, I see the slide. I've
Okay.
got the value stream analysis
keep going.
slide up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think somebody chatted that examples of business units in our company I saw pop up for a second. Our business units are broken up kind of at the product, or they're broken up from value stream. So we build fire trucks. So we build the entire fire truck, including the chassis and the bodies on it. And we have a couple different types of products that are just highly customized within each one of those. So our business units, we have a chassis business unit. So that outputs the chassis of the fire truck with a cab on it, and it includes all of the support staff and all of the production, project management, etc., specifically for the creation of the chassis. So the actual frame rails with your axles, wheels, and then the cab and everything in the cab. That business unit outputs a chassis. We output 25 to 26 of those a month, and they go to 5 different body facility lines. The body facility lines, for instance, one of the body facility business units is the aerial. So if you build an aerial chassis, and all of these are custom, by the way. So everything is a chassis that's built is in a generic chassis. It's built specifically for that customer and for that truck. So the aerial business unit receives a chassis as an input, and then adds the body, pump, the ladder, puts it all together, finishes it, and they have their own support staff, etc., with that as well too, integrated under that aerial business unit. So if that answers your question, good. If not, we can talk a little bit more at the end about it. I don't want to drag it through too much fire truck mode. So another thing that I want to spend a little bit of time talking about is our thematic goal or organization, which is a process that came out of the 5 dysfunctions of a team, and it's at the organization level. So we have our value stream analysis, which is at the business unit level, which is creating that roadmap for the value stream for the business unit specific, with each one of them having a different one. We also realized that sometimes we have an issue with, if there's too many top priorities, we're rowing in too many different directions, and nothing's a priority. And we realized that through leveraging some of the 5 dysfunctions of a team stuff through the commitment aspect, there's a process called a thematic goal that we've really hooked onto, which is how do we create a top overriding theme or goal for a specific period of time for the entire organization to get us to all row in the same direction and get a big win, and be able to keep repeating that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and share a couple examples, but it's been really effective for us. We're finishing up our second one right now. Basically, we determine as a management team in a few-hour plan session, what is the top overriding goal, most important thing we could get done over a certain period of time. That's single, qualitative at first, we turn it into quantitative later, time bound, and shared throughout the organization. So it comes out of a lot of conflict work. We do some brainstorming sessions, then we fight it out a little bit on what's the most important thing it could do, what's the biggest thing that we could do. And once we agree on that, we break it down into what's called defining objectives, which are the 4 to 6 components that make up it's the temporary components of that thematic goal shared by all members of the team, that if we do well, we should be achieving that. And then we create a scorecard based off of that we review in our weekly tactical and business reviews. What this has done that's been really effective for us is it's created an actual top priority. So like if there's 3 things that need done and we can only do one of them, and the thematic goal is one of them, we're going to get that done because we've decided that we're going to row in the same direction. And if we're going to get one thing done, we're going to get that done. And it's been really transformative for us through going through that process of determining that, defining it, creating the scorecard, and then being able to leverage that as as a clear priority for us. So we had a scorecard up here from the first one that Scott, I just lost the deck. We are no longer sharing. Yep, I agree with Andy.
Coming back.
I can share from my side if you want.
Yeah, why don't you do that, John? Sorry.
Oh, good. Get over to the slide we were on and share the screen here. You seeing the slide again? Yep. Sounds like we're back up. So I don't know if those are hands up with questions or validation that we're seeing the slide again, but I think I'm showing that we're sharing it on the screen. So I'll keep going. Want to get through a couple more things here. Couple examples of the thematic goals that the output of that process that I was describing. The first one was it was leveraging a temporary market to provide a needed product and really turn an unprofitable year into a profitable one. So just a little background, during COVID, the fire industry exploded with sales for a little bit. Sutphen and the industry at large sold several years worth of production in a couple of months. Then inflation hit with no contractual recourse to adjust prices on those trucks. And it left us in a very poor and risky position that we had 1 year where we lost a boatload of money. And we were really set up to do the same thing again. However, increased industry-wide lead times. It gave birth to a stock truck market, which is basically a truck with minimal customization, and we're able to leverage significantly shorter lead times if we could get them those trucks and use current market pricing, so we could actually make some money on those because they weren't sold years ago before that inflation hit. So what we realized is that if we could stand up a line to build these stock trucks, make a really short and quick pivot and create a production line, build these stock trucks. We had 9 months left in the year, and we said we need to stand up a line. We need to figure out a sales strategy. We need to define the line, and we need to start building these, and we need to sell them. And it actually, we were able to do that. And it swung us. It was extraordinarily successful for us, and it swung us from a year that we were going to lose a good bit of money to a year that we made a good bit of money. So just that was extremely powerful, and it gave a clear directive for priority over other priorities. We made a lot of decisions through that year that we would never have made if that process wasn't in place, because it didn't provide that top priority for the organization. So what we did to stand that up is we carved out space in the new building to stand up the line, had a several day rapid improvement event to design the flow, the work breakdown structure, create the staffing strategy, create the cells and everything, create our material replenishment strategy, set up our Kanban system through it, figure out our procurement and kitting strategy for it, and really set all of that up, create owners for the program. And we set that up in a full blitzkrieg of it. And it was really successful, and it would have never happened without that thematic goal approach. So that was powerful for us.
Hey, John, I wanted to, you and I talked about this a little bit on Monday, and I wanted to just, if we've got a couple of minutes here. So one of the big themes of this performance excellence series over the past 5 or 6 years has been how industrial and systems engineers can help build resilient organizational systems, engineer management systems that are resilient, and how do we do a better job of integrating strategy, people, process, and technology. So, that example you just gave, I don't know that I'd call it a black swan event, like COVID was. But obviously it was a major shift in the context and the environment, your business environment, so to speak, which required you to pivot on a dime, so to speak.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it seems to me that the OpEx, I don't know the right word, the lean system you've developed, or the OpEx program that you've been building, probably gave you the ability to turn on a dime.
Yeah, 100%. We had a lot of those pieces in place that we were able to say, okay, here's our playbook for setting up a production line. We know we need to do capacity planning. We have manpower analysis strategies. We know what data we need to mine, and that we've created the ways to mine that data and had those books available. We had our Kanban system developed for our reorder and replenishment. We had our kitting system developed, and all that stuff had been developed over,
Yeah.
and thank you for saying that, over the past real decade, that allowed us to just plug and play that into and be able to stand up that line in a really short period of time. And so that also would have never been impossible without the that's the under the iceberg stuff that, for some people had already been over the iceberg, but like we wouldn't have been able to do that without all those pieces already in place. That's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. No, we're getting, so I'll probably breeze through this a little bit, but I just want to share this. We're the one that thematical that we're finishing up right now is we wanted to connect our 5 body facility lines to our chassis production line through a pull system. So we had been in a lot of situations where we build chassis for facilities that don't need them right now, and not ones for ones that do, because of changes in production and all the other factors that go into that, and a lot of pain accompanies that. So we created, we actually just in the process of launching this right now, what I call like a conwhip style pull system, to create a completed custom chassis and a supermarket for each one of those body facilities, where it's not a traditional supermarket, as each chassis is specific to a specific truck, but it's still a supermarket, as we have 5 different lines, and they each have a pool of trucks, a pool of completed chassis that they can pull from. And when they consume one of those, it sends a signal back to the chassis facility to build another one, the next one of that type. So that actually links into our backlog and says, here's the next truck that we need to build of that type. And we pull that in and we build another one of that. It's a little bit more complicated than that, and we're not going to have time for me to get really into it. If you're interested in that type of thing, feel free to reach out to me. I'll talk to you ad nauseum about it, because I've spent a lot of time on it over the past few months, and I'm excited about it. And it's a first major link transitioning to an integrated pull system for us. So I'm gonna keep going on this though for the sake of time, because I want to talk about Working Genius for a second. So I'm sure some of you have probably heard of Working Genius, but it was a personal aha moment for me, and it's really now fully embedded into Sutphen's playbook. So it's very powerful for us, and it's something that we use on a really regular basis to leverage people for their strengths, create the best project teams, not miss a step in certain things that we're doing, create a common language for conversations, make sure we're in the right meeting and stuff like that. So just real quick on Working Genius, there's a natural flow of work for doing or accomplishing anything, starting from pondering over and recognizing the need of something, to the flash of the idea, to determining the merit of the idea, to rallying others to support that, even if they are initially resistant, to hopping on and supporting that, and finally to driving it through to completion. So that follows these 6 gears up here of wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, and enablement and tenacity. So that's the process of getting anything done. Each one of us possesses in our makeup as humans certain gifts within different stages of this process. Areas where we're most effective, where we naturally excel at, and which give us joy and energy to partake in. On the flip side, there's also areas where we don't naturally excel at, which we can frustrate us, can suck us of energy and joy, especially the longer we're involved in them. So this is okay. It's also powerful, and it's liberating to understand, and it's great because we work together in teams. And it also takes the pressure of us being everything, for needing to be everything. So it was an aha moment for myself, because my working geniuses are wonder and invention, and I have frustrations in galvanizing and tenacity. So rallying people to support an idea and break through that resistance and driving things through to completion are not things that I naturally excel in. They're like, and they drain me of energy. However, the first parts of the processes with pondering over the need of ideas for change, and then creating those ideas, and then a little bit even in the discernment side, is stuff that I naturally gravitate towards, and that's very, very effective for me to do. So it was very difficult for me over a period of my career to that I was very frustrated, and why was I not able to do some of the tenacity based elements or the galvanizing based elements like other people. And this model put that into perspective and allowed me to understand myself better, understand others better, and being able to create better teams for projects, and also make sure that we understand that we shouldn't skip over any of these steps as well too. We have a tendency to skip over the activation phase, which is the discernment galvanizing. So we create the idea, and then we try to jump straight to implementation. And a lot of things were failed because we didn't go through, especially that galvanizing portion, really rallying the support for it. So it puts it in perspective for us. We use it as a common language in terms of like, hey, like, I want to have a wonder conversation with you, or I go to my boss and I need your discernment on this idea. Or talk to somebody like, I need you to go galvanize them. And we really all understand it. So it's created that language. We give this to people in hiring now because we use it so much. And it understands what stage of the project we're in, and helps us not miss a step. And it's just I couldn't recommend it more. It's been very powerful for me and for Sutphen at large. And I know there's like an assessment you can take to find yours. It's like $25. We give it to everybody now. And it's just it's effective thing for us to go through. We're about out of time, so I won't talk any more about that. So just last note is just don't forget about number one. Don't forget about your own transformation. So there's only so far you can go without being an effective human being yourself. So I know Scott turned me on to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which I'm sure a lot of you are familiar for. That was a transformative outlook on my life. And if you haven't read it, read it. I've also been leveraging both personally and at work a process called Crucial Conversations, which is effective as well as a lot of other things, meditation, etc. But just don't forget about yourself as well too. You need to transform as well. So. And yeah, like I said, Working Genius helps you with the synergize through leveraging the right people for the right stages of work and allowing us to be vulnerable through your weaknesses as well too.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring this back up and end it. I know we're out of time, so thank you guys for your time. Thanks for listening. I'm happy to talk about any of this stuff with anybody. So if you have any questions or comments, either get a hold of me or yeah, ask in the chat.
So John, let me just mention to the audience that behind John's last slide, there are some additional slides that'll give you a sneak preview of what's ahead. And so I'm not going to take the time to do that because I want to spend this last 5 minutes talking with you, John. I got a couple of questions for you. So the 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 last part of your presentation, although I thought it was scattered throughout, is there's a lot of focus today on what people call social fitness in organizations. And essentially, Harvard's done a lot of research in this area, and we've actually had some webinars that we've done this year that have been focused on how to engineer management systems that bring out the best in people. And Alan Grant has been one of the presenters, and he has built it's interesting you use the word genius. He's built an AI system that essentially facilitates people being able to seek and receive feedback, to give feedback, and then you have a personal coach, a personal AI coach that's monitoring this feedback, both the feedback you give and the feedback you get, and essentially AIing that feedback, what it hears, and saying, on the basis of what we're hearing, these are things you should consider in order to be more effective. So it's an interesting concept. And I think what I'm hearing is that you've done a lot of work with the people to condition them to be more effective at seeking and receiving and using feedback. It's a sense that that's been an investment on your part. Is that a fair observation?
Yeah, absolutely. Some of that goes back to my time with you around how many times you said feedback is a gift, and living that at cause over at effect, or at fault at blame, at cause over at fault at blame lifestyle. So we do a lot of what we would call, and that's, we want to engage in that conflict. We want to engage in that open and transparent conversation, and we want to be giving feedback and advice back to each other. And we realized that we really needed to do some of that vulnerability-based trust work in order to enable that. So that's really where we started. Is there were several exercises that we did around, and then we continue to work with each other around how do we create, establish, and foster vulnerability-based trust, so we can give each other feedback. And that's been really powerful for us.
Yeah, you mentioned 7 Habits, but Covey's son actually wrote a book called Speed of Trust, which is also equally transformative. I mean, it's a really powerful book. And there's been a lot of follow-on stuff that's been done with the concept presented in that book. So another good example. What Peter Fisher, who has been a frequent participant in these sessions over the past couple of years, asked, what's the biggest obstacles and challenges that you've faced in this 10-year transformation that you've been a part of?
Yeah, conditioned habits, like the momentum of habit energy is the most, people create mental models and they believe them, and they get reinforced, and that snowballs, and it's difficult to work with that, and you've got to really work with it intelligently. You've got to get to know people. You've got to listen. You've got to really seek first to understand, in order to break through. Not even break through is probably the wrong word. To be able to work with that habit energy and get it to shift or change, and either recondition or uncondition, and create new ones.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is clearer to you now as a result of all this work that you've been doing and have done?
In terms
what are
of
sort of the top 2 or 3 things that are clearer to you about this kind of work?
I would say that it doesn't happen overnight would be one, that that you've really got to be persistent and humble with it, and that trying to overly stick your name on things, or stick your chest out is really doesn't do it. Gandhi said something around when if you can make yourself into zero, your power becomes immeasurable, or
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing that a little bit, but
Yeah.
something around that is really just like being able to work with it with humility, is been probably the answer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks again, John, so much for taking time to do this. It's really great to see all these concepts that we've been talking about for the last couple of years sort of come to life in a case example like this. You've put a lot of. I love the fact that you've been borrowing things from lots of different sources, and you sort of put it together and integrated it in a way that
That
makes
would be
sense to
one
you.
too.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense to you guys and work. So
Yeah.
I'll just say in closing to the group that you will receive an email from me probably this afternoon, and I'm going to AI this webinar, and I will create a sort of an AI summary of it using the Poirier Group's AI platform called Beacon. It's sort of an OpEx industrial engineering AI app that we've tailored, and it does a pretty good job. And so you'll have that. And then, as I mentioned, be on or before the end of the week if you go to the IISE website and go to training, webinars, and then performance excellence webinar series, you'll be able to find. And I'll provide the link for you in the note I send out. You'll be able to find access to link to get to both the presentation and the recording. So thanks everybody for joining us. Have a happy holidays, and we'll see you after the first of the year. Thanks again, John. Appreciate you taking time to share your wisdom today. Very, very
Yeah,
impressive. Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, happy to. Thanks.